Oh, hello. Hello, and welcome to episode 274 of Prog Review. And this kind of follows on directly from the last episode, which is about Archive, the compilation from that there Genesis. You've heard of them. Young guy called Phil Collins sings with the band, yeah. We've got this new thing called Together and Apart, which was a documentary for the BBC. It lasts for about 90 minutes. And, I bet you're all really wondering what I thought of it. Yeah, it was, what can I say? Disappointing. It was, in fact, it was an utter disappointment. A bit of a mess. There was a lot of stuff left out. It felt like it concentrated on certain parts and not the others. There was a lot of flab. It could have been a completely different beastie. Some of us remember Genesis: A History, and there was a version of this on the BBC. I've got it on my hard drive somewhere, which was broadcast in Easter. When was it? 1990? Was it? Yeah, 1990. Easter 1990. They broadcast an edited version of this. It was all jiggered around, and then there was the official version. And so the BBC and Genesis seem to have a relationship. Starts at the beginning at their time at Charterhouse, obviously, and who should turn up but King of the Paedophiles, Jonathan. See what I did there? Don't worry, he is a convicted child molester. I am allowed to say that. And every time you buy a copy of From Genesis to Revelation, you're lining a pedo's pocket. I'm alright, because I bought my copy before he got his conviction back in 1985, I think it was, on CD, when it was called From the Sour Goes to Sweet, or whatever it was called. So you got old Jonathan King on there wobbling his chops and talking about how he named them. You get a little bit Andy Phillips. I think Andy Phillips talks more than Steve Hackett does. Indeed. Was that the dog? Did you let one go then? You have 5 members of Genesis in the studio, yet only 3 of them really talk. I mean, even Peter Gabriel really doesn't get a word in edgeways. But Steve Hackett, I think Steve Hackett only turned up for the free sandwiches. That's what I think, because he was kind of sidelined out of the whole interview experience. They go through the albums chronologically, but certain albums, they talk about a little bit about Trespass, but not enough. There's not enough about finding their way and developing a style. They don't really, it's kind of there's a rush. They don't talk about. They talk about Foxtrot. Don't talk about selling by the pound. They spend an awful lot of time on the Lamb. But you don't really get to the nub of the Lamb. Again, if you've watched any of the documentaries that were in the box set, the box sets, albums, they had accompanying documentaries, or if you watched any of this, you know that there's more to it than that. And a lot of the story was kind of, glossed over. And it carries on very much like that. Duke is mentioned slightly, Abacab. They completely ignore calling all stations and Ray Wilson, access denied. So that was fun. But yeah, it was very heavily on the old Collins, Banks and Rutherford, and everyone else just got a second whistle. You also had some interesting choices of talking head. I mean, Al Murray's in there because Al Murray is the poshest man in the world. Even though he plays the pub landlord and has been doing it since the same act since 1994, I believe. He should do a posh one. He should do a posh landlord, shouldn't he? Rather than taking. It's a class thing. He just likes taking the piss out of us working class folk. You see, it's easier. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. I can't stand Al Murray. I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. But there he was talking about the band. He wrote an essay in one of the box sets. Fair enough. Again, he's only a little bit older than myself, so And then we had Mark Billingham. Mark Billingham, last time I saw him, he played one of Tony Robinson's, Baldrick, one of his henchmen in Maid Marian and Her Merry Men, a children's programme from the late 90s. That was the last time I saw him. And here he is, suddenly he's a writer now. He writes murder mysteries and he's an expert on Genesis. By my reckoning, when Genesis were hitting their stride, he would have only been about 10 years old and wouldn't have seen them performing Foxtrot or whatnot. And so, again, you wonder, why are people like Chris Welch and the journalists of the time, I mean, even Armando Gallo, they could have got him on there to talk about the band or someone. And people that are actually close to the band, The greatest talking head was Kate Mossman. She's currently arts editor of the New Statesman, and she's, I think, about 9 or 10 years younger than me. And there she is talking about Genesis as if she was there, where she lived it, like she was there when the Lamb came out. It was almost like she was, with Foxtrot, she could smell the vinyl, and and she talks about remembering Phil Collins in the 80s. By the time Phil Collins was doing all this stuff, she'd have only been about 5 or 6 years old. Where did they get these people? How many dicks did she suck to get on that programme? And they got BBC DJ and Angie Greaves on there as well. Again, got no problem with her because she's a BBC DJ, but they had to use her because all the other DJs from that time, helping Operation U Tree with their inquiries, isn't they? Too much. So that Angie Greaves is the only one that passed the U Tree test. So there's some interesting talking heads who really should have shut the fuck up because they got in the way of the actual documentary. Their insights were, they might as well have got me on there, Not that I'm saying I'm a great expert. That's the whole point. I'm not a great expert. Well, I am, but you know what I mean. I'm not somebody that was there from the beginning who saw them, and that's what they need. They needed somebody with authority. If you're going to have a talking head, have someone with some fucking authority that knows what they're talking about, not some pretty face or some other guy who got the gig because he's a friend of a friend. That really pissed me off. It was a wasted opportunity. Or they should just let the fucking band speak. And that's what I thought we was going to get. I thought we was going to get just the band speaking about their career. Yeah, you have the 5 of them in a studio, but do they really talk? I thought that the whole thing might have been them just describing how they did things, studio. No, you just get tiny little bit, and it's the same old. And some of the editing, I mean, they're talking about, was it the 1976 or 77 tour or whatever, so they used some footage from 1981, because they couldn't be bothered to find anything. And if you don't know anything about Genesis, then it's a nice little introduction, but you'd be better off with a copy of this. Okay, I know this misses out We Can't Dance and Calling All Stations, but they missed out Calling All Stations anyway. They didn't mention the reunion in '82 where Gabriel, turned up in a coffin. They didn't, Milton Keynes. They didn't mention that. WOMAD didn't mention them saving that. There was just so much that was, left off. Again, poor old Ray Wilson didn't get a mention because we're not going to talk about that album. We're just going to talk about this, Andy Phillips, at least he got a look in. There was some talk earlier on that he wasn't even going to be involved in it, but at least he got a look in. And I got bored with it. I seriously got a little bit bored by the end of it because a lot of what was said we'd heard before, and it was just, there was nothing new. Oh, there was something. There was a tiny little fragment near the beginning, around Trespass era, of Peter Gabriel and Andy Phillips performing The Knife. And I'd never seen that, but it was just a fragment. You just see them singing off each other, and it was just and I was like, oh wow, we're going to get something new, exciting. We're going to get something that we haven't seen. Now, I'll tell you a little story. When this came out, when this was shown at Easter, I sat down with the missus. Well, she was the girlfriend then, but she's the missus now. She's the girlfriend. We sat down and watched it. Now, in those days, there was no internet. There was no access to YouTube and this, that, and the other. And I'd never seen the early band perform together. I hadn't seen a lot of the Phil Collins band, only like the 80s version, but I'd not seen that mid-period band perform. So this was a revelation. This was like an amazing thing. And there was even a clip of Supper's Ready, and the bit where, no word of a lie, when they're singing, the New Jerusalem, and there's a puff of smoke and Gabriel does his unveiling, he's in silver. I burst out crying. I actually wept because I was just so overawed by it. That's the effect it had on me. Now, I don't know if it's because of the internet and we're all bloody clever bastards and our culture has been diluted by the web and easy accessibility of stuff, or whether or not this was just a truly shitty documentary. I don't know. Maybe there are some kids out there that was emotional about it than I was back in 1990. Mind you, I'd have been 19 years old then, so you know what I'm like. I cry easily, if I can't get the top off the ketchup, I burst into tears. You know that. So yeah, I thought it was an utter waste of time. I'm hoping that the Blu-ray might have more unedited stuff and more of the band talking. Gable's on good form, but again, not really given enough time to talk. I was hoping he might have, spoken more about his solo career and this, that, and the other. But it just felt, it just felt utterly lopsided and wrong. And maybe it needed to be 2 hours. 90 minutes. I don't know. I'd have got rid of the talking heads because they were a waste of fucking time. I thought the whole thing was. That was my comment on Twitter at the end of it. Was, well, that was a waste of time. Because that's what I felt. I didn't feel like there was any real insight into what the band was or where they were going. And even I don't want to go on more about Kate Mossman, but even when she described progressive rock, she did seriously what I take the piss out of. When I say, it's prog because they mention unicorns, she said that seriously. She said, you can tell things are progressive rock because it's usually 20 minutes long and they mention fantastical creatures like unicorns. I'm sitting there like wanting to throw my shoes at the television because I can't believe what I'm hearing. And, amateur fucking hour, it really was. So yeah, if you do manage to catch it, I couldn't possibly tell you where to find it. I don't know. I thought it was just a real wasted opportunity, and it's a shame that more wasn't done. I'd like to have seen more, but I always want more. You know that. I always want more, but this wasn't the show. In terms of a rating, I'm gonna give it one. Oh, email. I've got to think of something funny to say and I can't. I'm gonna give it. Oh. I really can't think of anything to say. I'm just gonna give it one. It's left me speechless. It really has. It's upset me because I was really looking forward to it. I was really thinking it was going to be something cool, and it wasn't. It wasn't cool at all. Now, you compare it to something like Peter Gabriel's classic album where they talk about So. That was cool. That was interesting. This wasn't. There was no insight there. If you want insights and you want to know what the band are about, track down those box sets or whoever's probably uploaded it all up to YouTube. Those interviews are worth more than this piece of junk. So I'm going to give it one Phil Collins solo record out of 5. Or should I give it... No, I'm going to give it one Tony Banks solo record out of 5. That's a more appropriate rating. That's one Tony Banks solo record out of 5. I think that's fair. And that's it. Before I go... Oh, there's more. Nearly got the label. I found this. I was just come back from a walk with a dog, and I hadn't looked in the postbox all day, had I? No, I hadn't, because I've been waiting for Genesis, and I've been watching Genesis DVDs all day and annoying the kids. But this was in my postbox. Shall we have a look? Let me just open it. Rustle, rustle, crumple, crumple. Oh, I would have stuck this down real well. I'm going to do my best Wilfred Bramble. Harold! Oh, Christ on a bike. What are they using? Super glue? Right, are we ready? Oh, it's, what is this? Oh, yes, at the Hemel Hempstead Pavilion. Cool, I haven't seen this. How cool is that? This is a bootleg. This is an out-and-out bootleg of some BBC footage, I believe. But I really wanted to see it, so I put it on my wish list. And, oh, I've got to find out the little thing. I've got to find out who the little thing is. Oh, it's from Russell. Russell's my mate. He's my mate in Australia. This man is very, very generous. He's been a very good supporter of mine. And I'm getting emotional thinking about it. Don't get emotional. Be a big boy. Russell, right? He buys my CDs. He's a supporter on Patreon, and he does this as well. I mean, how cool is that? What a cool guy. And you know, I really don't deserve it. I really don't. You know. But thanks. I'm watch this. I'm gonna do a review of it because I think I've seen a few clips of it on a documentary about progressive rock, but I haven't seen the whole thing. So I shall look forward to having a look at that because I think Bill Bruford's playing the drums and I've not seen him play, so that's quite exciting actually. You got me excited again. I was having a bit of a miserable evening and now you got me excited, so thank you, Russell, for that. Thank you. And it says, a gift note from Russell Hammond: enjoy your gift. I love to hear your views of Yes in their younger days. I will put this on, and I think also, remember I was going on about that Yes DVD that I lost. I think I figured out where I've put it. I might have to issue a retraction to Herbie. I think Daddy put it in a place. I think I left it in a player. I think it might be in the Xbox. But anyway, I'll have to. I'll do it now because I'm sure it's where it is. Herbie, I'm very sorry, but it still don't account for those other CDs that are missing, okay? But anyway, that's Russell. Thank you for that. This has been my review of Together and Apart, a documentary about Genesis that aired on BBC Two on October the 4th, 2014. It's coming out on Blu-ray next month, and I'll be covering that as well. So keep your eyes out for that, because I wonder if that'll be any different to this. Thank you for watching. This has been a bit of a long one. Hey, but if you're going to have one, have a long one. That's what she said. You come in for the reviews and you stay for the crude innuendo. That's my new slogan. Oh yes, it is. Or the other one is Darren Lock. Don't get many of those to the pound. That's probably my biography. Yeah, when I do my autobiography. That's it. I better ring off now because it's all getting a bit out of hand, isn't it? Anyway, my name's been Darren Lock. Only one more thing to say, and that is sorry for the review. Thank you, Russell, for the DVD. I am going to be playing that tomorrow, and prog on.